Welcome to the Honor Roll Assembly for the fall of 2020. I want to say congratulations to the students and their families. In what has been an extremely challenging year, they have continued to show excellence. In the middle of a pandemic, instruction's been challenging. You've often had to structure your own time, and your families along with you have found ways to learn from home, something we've not done before. And students, you are the ones who have worked alongside your teachers, and you have helped them figure out new and better ways to utilize technology to help you learn and do your best. You have been an example of our Troy standards in ways that we have not described before. I do want to congratulate all three groups. First of all, our families. I know that it takes an amount of time that is hard to explain to get students to all of the things that they do. These students are not only academically excellent, but they're highly involved in their community and in their school in many other ways. The families are supported by teachers. Our staff at Topeka High is above the best I've ever seen, and I am so proud that this group of people have found a way to do this in a way that they have not done before. Congratulations, teachers, because it is your contributions that have also helped these students sit here today. And last but not least, students, we are so proud of you. On behalf of the entire administration and staff at Topeka High School, we want to be able to say, job well done. It's also my privilege today to introduce our speaker. Dr. Gianfranco Pizzino has worked in public health in several countries for the past 35 years plus. He obtained his medical degree magna cum laude at the University of Bologna, Italy, and his master's degree in public health at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. He is currently a senior fellow at the Kansas Health Institute in Topeka, where he oversees a wide variety of projects, including supporting local health departments in preparation for national accreditation and investigating options to prepare and ensure that we have improved childhood immunizations in our state. Dr. Pizzino is the director of the Center for Sharing Public Health Services, a program funded by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and hosted by the Kansas Health Institute. During his career, Dr. Pizzino has served on a variety of task forces and committees, and he has testified in front of both state and federal government bodies. Between 2007 and 2020, Dr. Pizzino also functioned as county health officer for Shawnee County. In 2016, Dr. Pizzino received the prestigious Crumbine Award from the Kansas Public Health Association. He lives in Topeka with his wife of over 30 years. It is my privilege to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Gianfranco Pizzino.
Topeka High School Honor Roll students, greetings and congratulations. My name is Gianfranco Pizzino, and I've been asked to spend a few minutes with you sharing some thoughts about what I'm not sure, because I wasn't told, but I decided to tell you a little bit of who I am, what I do, and about some milestones in my life that were really meaningful for me and from which I learned some important lessons which perhaps could be helpful also for you. Some of the things we will touch upon are things like the importance of good education in one's life. Nothing original there, but it's true, and I will give you my example. Taking calculated risks, the importance of perseverance, and the importance of having guiding principles and criteria when making difficult decisions. First of all, who am I? I am a public health physician here in Topeka, and some of you may have heard my name in the last year while I was acting as the Shawnee County Health Officer in charge of making many decisions and giving recommendations on how to stop the spread of the coronavirus. But I didn't start my life here, of course, as you probably guessed by now, if not from my name, from my accent. I was born and raised in a little town called Lucca, just about the same size as Topeka. It's in Italy, in Tuscany. A beautiful place where to grow up, and I always liked studying, and I always liked finding out about new things, and so I've always been a good student. And since I was in my early teens, I decided that I wanted to be a doctor, and so I pursued my dream and went to medical school and graduated with honors from the University of Bologna in Italy. After graduation, I found a job as a doctor, not surprisingly, although at that time, jobs for doctors in Italy, believe it or not, were not very common, very abundant. But I found one. It turned out that I didn't like what I was doing. My heart really was not in it. And one thing I always liked to do was traveling. And so I decided to quit my job and go to Africa, to a little island in Western Africa, and work there as a volunteer for 2 years. As you may imagine, I did that with some trepidation, and I also caused some trepidation in my parents, who were hoping for a comfortable, safe job for their son, freshly graduated after many years of education. But I felt that that was my call, and I also realized that I liked public health more than I liked clinical medicine, and going to Africa really gave me the opportunity to practice public health. That was my passion, and that became my love, my professional love. So after 2 years there, I decided that I would continue the career. I also felt that I did not have sufficient training for that. And I went to England. I went to Liverpool to the School of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene and spent about 4 months there getting more training on how to be a good physician in a tropical country. And while I was there, not only did I confirm my professional love, which was public health, but I also found my real life love, which ended up being my wife. I met this young woman from Newton, Kansas. We fell in love, and after we completed our training, and we both went to Africa and worked there in Ethiopia for a few more years. And I really loved my job there in Ethiopia, but it turned out that the situation was getting dangerous. There was civil war there, and there was fighting all around us. And we had decided to start a family. So it didn't feel like the safe, responsible thing to do in a place like where we were. So a time for another difficult decision. And finally, we decided that we would relocate to the United States. And I would start my new career in public health in a new country, in the United States. We did that, but I didn't feel that I was quite ready. And guess what I did? I went for yet some more education, and I enrolled in a master's program at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health in Baltimore, Maryland. And when I arrived there, I was assigned an advisor like most graduate students. And my advisor, after looking at my professional history and my professional goals, strongly advised me that I should become board certified in this country. Now, what that means is that essentially I had obtained my medical degree in a different country, in Italy, and that medical degree and that specialty in public health were not recognized in the United States. I didn't have the right credentials for practicing as a public health physician here. That process would take several years, and I knew that it would be hard to do. And my advisor really insisted. I took a deep breath and I started the process, and it ended up taking about 6 years of hard work with long nights spent studying after full day of work, after taking care with my wife or our young children. But it was really a life-saving decision for me, because that decision of becoming board certified and getting the right credentials in this country allowed me to get into a fellowship program at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, which in turn allowed me to become the first state epidemiologist in Kansas at the State Department of Health and Environment, and then eventually the local health officer in Shawnee County, in Topeka, Shawnee County. Which brings me to more recent times. My recent experience as a local health officer. Now, I was a local health officer for about 14 years, so it wasn't just during the last year. But the last year, everything changed. And as you can imagine, things moved very fast. There were big decisions that needed to be made with limited information in the middle of controversy and under high stress situation. So not exactly ideal. But I decided to stick to that. And again, public health was my life, my career, and I have been trained to take care of a situation like that. And so I went through that, and that was my life for about 8 months. It was really taxing, though. It took a price on me and on my colleagues who were working with me, and I became tired. I realized that I was starting to become more frustrated, more tired, and I was coming close to the end of my contract at the end of last year. And so I decided that would be a nice time to retire from that job and have someone else, maybe with more strength, a little younger, take over those tasks. So in December, I quit, and I actually ended up quitting a couple of weeks earlier than anticipated due to a conflict that I had, a very public conflict with the Board of County Commissioners that essentially was my boss. Which brings me to where I am now today, talking to you. There are many lessons when I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you. There are many things that I have learned through my wife and through my life. And if I had just known those things before, perhaps I would have made a few different choices and decisions also at other points in my life. But regardless, the first thing that comes to mind is really the role of good education. This was certainly the greatest investment I could have made for my life. Started from when I was in high school. And it's hard to do that. When you are in high school, it's hard to think that your decisions, the education you are getting, are going to affect who you're going to be 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. But that is certainly true in my case. Without the strong foundation in high school and then in medical school, I would never have been able to do what I did. I would never have been able to come back to the United States, be accepted into a program in a prestigious school of public health like Johns Hopkins, and then finding a job with the most prestigious public health agency in the world, the CDC, Centers for Disease Control. And then 13 years after my graduation from medical school, going back to studying to take my board exams in this country. All that required a very strong educational foundation that I had acquired decades earlier in my original country, in Italy. And while I was doing that, I had no idea how helpful that would have been later on. Another recurring theme in the little story I just shared with you is that at multiple times I made big decisions and big changes. And in doing that, I followed my dreams and I followed my heart. Even where there was some risk to be taken and some trepidation for me and sometimes also for my parents in the case of my first trip to Africa. And yet I do not regret a single one of those decisions. Having done anything short of that would have caused probably maybe some more safety, but not necessarily more growth and more satisfaction. And so, yes, I did take some calculated risks. But here is the other critical element. The risks I took were calculated. I was never reckless in my decisions. I was always very deliberated, and I made those decisions taking a lot of information into account. And so by the same token, when things became dangerous in the place where I was working in Ethiopia, I decided together with my wife that it was time to leave. and to do something else. So taking risk has its role, especially taking risks that take you to the place where your heart wants to take you. But being reckless is a different story. I have multiple challenges professionally in my life, and I never let those challenges stop me. The importance of perseverance, the importance of having long-term goals is really what took me where I am today. Took me 6 years, remember, to become board certified in my profession in this country. That is a long time, especially as an adult with a family and a full-time job. And yet that was absolutely necessary for me to achieve the long-term goals that I wanted to achieve. At the same time, I recognized when it was time to stop and to move on. Like I did recently, leaving my job behind with the Shawnee County Health Department. I realized I was getting tired, and I also realized that we are all helpful in what we are doing, but we are not indispensable. And there were other people who could take over my job and probably do at least as good a job as I was doing. So the importance of having the level of introspection and to recognize one's limits. I was reaching my limit, and I wanted to stop before I would get right past my limits and do something that was not wise. And that's what I did. It was a very difficult and suffer decision, and I think it was the right one. And speaking of difficult decisions, I made many difficult decisions in my life. In doing that, I always try to make those decisions in a rational way and not following impulse or momentary emotions. I took all the data and information that I had available into account. And first of all, I examined what are my highest ethical values and how does my decision, my dilemma, my current dilemma, compare with those ethical values. In other words, are there decisions that would infringe on my highest values? Because in that case, the choice was simple. The choice was to protect my values and move on to something else. That's something that I would never depart from or compromise. Something else I took into account is who was going to be affected by my decisions. I can share with you, I had to decide at the very beginning of the pandemic to limit the activities and essentially shut down, in many cases, bars and restaurants in Shawnee County. I was very well aware that I was causing people to lose their jobs by doing that. And in fact, I knew some of those people directly, personally. And yet there was the right decision to do. But in doing that, keeping in mind who was affected also allowed me to always make the least damaging and intrusive decision possible to reach the goals that I needed to reach professionally in contain the spread of the virus. I never made those difficult decisions in isolation. I always involved people whom I trust and I wanted to listen to. And I never rushed, unless I have to. And as I said, many decisions in the last year were made with a very rapid moving situation and pace. But if I had a way to sleep on it, even just one night, and re-examine my decision the day after, impulsivity usually does not lead to good, smart decisions in my experience. I always look at the data. What are the facts? What conclusions can I draw from the information I have? But then I would move on, even with imperfect data. I didn't have the luxury to spend months and months collecting all the information and data that I wish I had. I had to decide certain things right away, and I did just with the data that I had available. That's really what I have to share with you. I hope that it brings something home for you. And I hope that maybe, just maybe, a few years down the road, you will remember about this guy with the odd accent from Italy and his little story of when he came to this big country being just a nobody. Another doctor graduated from a different country and then was able to fulfill a professional, satisfying and productive career just by following some basic principles and by being perseverant in pursuing professional and lifetime goals. One last thing, while you're doing all that, do keep some humor. If you can find a way to laugh, to crack a joke with a friend, with a colleague, do that. In fact, speaking of data, there is data that shows that people who can laugh will actually live longer on average than people who are always anxious and can never find anything humorous to laugh about. Even in the worst of the times in the last year, my colleagues and I always found a way to relax together, most of the time remotely in the last several months, and joke with each other, friendly tease each other. Just find a way to laugh. You've got to find some humor in what you're doing. I hope that you will be able to do that as well. Good luck to you all.
Hi, I'm Pat Bordewick, Academic Counselor for the students A through D. I'd like to read the names of my 12th graders for honor roll: Chrishayla Adams, Riley Atkinson McLaury, Roshan Austin, Sam Baviera, Josh Bernardino, Shelley Blancas, Kate Blinden, Jaden Blocker, Paloma Balonis, Jordan Bond, Addison Braun, Lucas Brennan, Jada Brown, Elaine Bunton, Alexa Cabrera, Bernice Calva Morales, Cullen Carr, Caroline Carrier, Zoe Carroll, Evelyn Seha, Casey Champney, Kyla Chandler, Michaela Chavez, Ian Christensen, Maya Coben, Jonah Cochran, Scout Cooper, Christian Daniel, Christina De La Isla, Humphrey Del Castillo, Santana Dominguez, Ava Dunikek, and Isley Duvier. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Lewis, and I am the academic counselor for students with last names E through K, and I would like to read the names of my seniors who are on the honor roll. Rodney English, Eliam Figueroa, Jonathan Figueroa, Jaron Flowers, Cecilia Fries, Leila Fund, Jose Garcia Bretanya, Michaela Guile, Eleanor George, Mariana Gomez Solis, Travis Gray, Graham Grecian, Macy Gruder, Mariah Harmon, Xavier Harrison, Janisha Hendricks, Yaxiano Hernandez, Mackenzie Hintz, William Hubka, Braden Humphrey, Karime Hurtado, Daylin Johnson, Shayla Johnson, Cheyenne Kern, and Mia Kelly. Congratulations.
Hi there, my name is Autumn Wyan and I'm the academic counselor for students with last names L through RI. I'd like to introduce my honor roll seniors: Kelm Lear, Jocelyn Lopez, Stephanie Lucatero, Abigail Ludlam, Grace Martinez, Cole McClendon, Claire McDougall, Mary McGuire, Jeffrey Moore, Nevaeh Moore, Eduardo Muniz Rodriguez, Isabel Munoz, Austin Newell, Melissa Nunez, Gabriel Obiñeta, Anne Maria Paul, James Peck, Delsine Pena, Nazim Phillips, Rivendell Powell. Congratulations, L through RI seniors.
Hi, I'm Heather Prothy. I'm the Academic Counselor for Division 4, students with last name R through Z. I'd like to introduce my seniors for honor roll. Lily Robertson, Nathaniel Routsong, Emma Rucker, Patrick Sandquist, Ruby Schumacher, Abigail Scritchfield, Logan Shelley, Addison Sig, Lillian Smith, Sophia Smith, Michaela Snook, Sophia Soto, Elizabeth Stewart, Zachary Stockton, Mackenzie Stone, Cody Sullivan, Jamie Thompson, Aubrey Thompson, Connor Troop, Giovanni Velasquez Gonzalez, Katie Vota, Finesse Ware, Jessica Widow, Kennedy Wilkerson, Zoe Wright, Brendan Young, and Aubrey Zimmerman.
Okay, the 11th graders A through D. Ella Abbey, Nathan Adams, Elliot Ackerstrom, Paola Alcorchez, Tamara Amos, Alexander Otten, Christina Avila, Cheyenne Bahadur, Erica Berry, Koshane Birch, Nathaniel Braley, Ladea Bronson, Nija Kennedy, Adrian Caracioni, Richard Carter, Colton Couture, John Cordova, Jada Davis, Rossi De La Cruz, Yasmin De Leon Diaz, Owen Dinas, Alyssa Dipnarine. Congratulations, juniors.
Honor Roll Juniors E through K. Alexander Esquivel, McKenna Esman, Victoria Estrada, Walter Evans, Joshua Philby, Destiny Foy, Louis Francis, Sophia Fries, Jada Fulton, Avery Gibson, Naturel Goldion, Selena Gordon, Clark Gosselin, Tehran Graham, Victoria Hills, Zachary Hill, Breton Hoover, Tessa Howell, Madison Huggins, Taryn James, Grace Kensinger, and Jonna Klusakowski. Juniors E through K, congratulations.
Juniors L through RI. Emily Locke, Summer Lore, Jolyn Martell, Alexis Martinez, Alexa Martinez Hernandez, Aiden Masters, Gabriella McCarthy, Talayla McFadden, Callan Michaelis, Allison Montag, Jesse Morrison, Amberlyn Mullins, Heather Monday, Madison Munoz, Tegan Ortega, Yoreli Ortiz, Elena Pasciano, Andrew Perez, Abigail Price. Congratulations, juniors L through RI.
Hi, this is Honor Roll for Juniors, Division 4, last name RO through Z. Clene Rodriguez, Keely Rogers, Luxana Sands, Wyatt Scott, Brennan Smith, Olivia Soto, Alyssa Stewart, Talea Thomas, Lillian Thornton, Jamie Thrasher, Regine Vahey, Jennifer Velasquez Gonzalez, Lisbeth Villagrano Marino, Jaden Boley, Madison Welcher, Isaiah Zuniga. Congratulations.
All right, 10th graders A through D. Emma Benson, Marcella Berry Hertline, Sam Brooks Reese, Alexa Brosa, Addison Bullock, Erica Cabral, Haley Carpenter, Amanda Carpenter, Monica Carr, Sierra Carranza, Luis Carrillo Hernandez, Addison Carroll, Hannah Shard, Christopher Comahig, Yair Cruz Morales, Trista Davis, Lorraine De La Isla, Zaisha Douglas. Congratulations.
Sophomores E through K. Luciana Enriquez, Elizabeth Bechtel, Isabel Foster, Yahir Gomez Hernandez, Annabelle Hall, Alyssa Hannigan, Anna Harkin, Alex Hartley, Julio Hernandez, Rachel Hernandez Trinidad, Melina Hieronymus, Matthew Hubka, Hannah Hull, Ariana Hutchinson, Choice Heiston, Grady Johnson, Janae Johnson, Carter Johnston, Brooklyn Jones, Alexander Can, DeQuan Kent, and Elijah Kincaid. Congratulations.
Sophomores L through RI. Yayeli Lopez, Takia Lucas, Kushal Mamalapali, Andrea Ramirez Marin, Ethan Martell, India Mayfield, Sophie McDonald, Molly McGuire, Ann Mara, Mia Miles, Aiden Miller, Jada Miller, Brianna Mitchell, Soraya Montgomery, Aiden Morrison, Emma Paul, Perry Payne, Kaylin Phillips, JD Pulgarin Castillo, David Rivera Chavez. Congratulations, sophomores, L through RI.
Hi, this is honor roll for sophomores, Division 4, last names RO through Z. Antonio Rodriguez, Javion Sanders, Thomas Schmidt, Kaylin Sharp, Kiera Smith, Quincy Smith, Lizeth Soriano Delgadillo, Abraham Sosa, James Soto, Kelly St. Clair, Casey Ann Stone, Andrew Storer, Morgan Staus, Kaylani Swindell, May Taylor, Ariana Thompson, Ewan Thompson, Summer Tinoco, Wyatt Tripe, Kiera Trupp, Noah Valdivia Mendez, Jakaya Verser, Madison Vobach, Nathaniel Waters, Alana Watson, Maya Welcher, John Tez Williams, Denisha Wright, Sandra Young, and Marilena Zuniga. Congratulations.
Ninth graders, A through D. Andrew Anderson, Aiden Aguirre, Nubia Ariola Bricino, Araya Behringer, Isaac Bartley, McCall Beal, Keon Bennett, Madison Bernal, David Barry Hertline, Tiariana Blackwell, Ronnie Blancas, Sienna Boito, Ava Breitenstein, Kylie Brosa, Kayla Brown, Rayleigh Brown, Bruce Kennedy, Coran Carey, Lincoln Carter, Elizabeth Seha, Manuel Seha, Anastasia Cook, Lily Corby, Latavion Davis, Dylan Davis.
Freshmen E through K. Athrin Earl, Gaviana Frank, Daniela Gallegos Monreal, Addison G., Matthew Gingrich, Amira Gibbs, Chris Gomez de Avila, David Gruder, Leanna Hansen, Isabel Hayes, Andrew Hayes, Sophia Hernandez, Henry Harriman, Aaron Hill, Tate Hodges, Madeline Holter, Jayla Hughes, Vanessa Infante, Cayman Kiebert, Jimmy Keeler, Lily Kessler, Isaiah Kincaid. Freshmen E through K.
Freshmen L through RI, Banks Lear, Jada Lee McDonald, Jamel Levkey, Anthony Lamas, Edwin Lopez, Takara Lucas, Emma Ludlam, Ashley Macias Perez, Leslie Macias Perez, Carolina Monabat, Jasmine Mateos Morales, Kiera McBride, Nisha McBride Rains, Delaney Murphy, Sage Murphy, Ka Ni, Rafael Vignetta, Madeline O'Leary Worsley, Jaden Ortega, Nathan Plankington, Temple Richardson, students with last names L through RI, freshmen. Congrats.
Hi, this is freshman honor roll for Division 4, last names RO through Z. Vanes Robertson, Joni Rochi, Jocelyn Rodriguez, Destiny Rodriguez Hernandez, Kayla Rookstool, Eileen Santillan, Haley Schaefer, Destiny Shipley, Travis Shine, Henry Stamper, Hannah Strauss, Lauren Stupka, Azalea Thompson, Adriana Vanderblomen, Laura Van Druff, Sagan Villa, Ernesto Vizuth, Xavier Walker, Abigail Welcher, Alicia White, Kayla Wolfley, and Avery Zimmerman. Congratulations.